Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the new episode of Magic Revolution TV. Are we calling it TV?
Sure, why not? That sounds good.
I'm Damian
It works.
Echols, here with David Stupakis. And I guess today we're actually talking about magic and Magic Revolution and what it means and where that name comes from and maybe a little bit of everything else magic related.
Yes, absolutely. So why would you say that we came up with the idea of Magic Revolution?
Well, I think, this was something that when we were working on the Salem show in that was last year, right? 2016.
March, yeah.
We were talking about wanting to have everything not only just about Salem itself, but about the concept and the ideology of magic. And we started kind of talking about how most people don't even understand what magic really is. And we had a publicist working with us at the time, and she said, what you have to do first and foremost is get people to understand what magic actually is, because most of the ideas that people have about magic are based on like really shitty horror movies or what some right-wing fundamentalist told them at some point in their lives. They really don't understand.
It's looked at as a very negative,
exactly,
or like an occult,
exactly,
or like
dark, scary. And in actuality, it's none of those things. It's just a spiritual tradition, just like Buddhism or Hinduism or Taoism or Christianity or Judaism, but none of those other religions have the same negative connotations, or none of those same spiritual practice. Magic isn't actually a religion, it's a spiritual practice. The point of magic is to strip away religion, strip away superstition, strip away dogma, and just find the actual practices of what works, how it works, and how we can make it work even better. So when I was talking to the publicist at one point, and she says, what you need to do is create a social awareness campaign to get these ideas out to people, to make people even understand what magic actually is. And so that's where Magic Revolution came from. It's a revolution. It's a revolution in the way people think of magic, to sort of bring, actual facts about what magic is and what magic is not, and change the way people look at it altogether, to make people understand and see that magic is just as valid, beautiful, life-affirming, and life-enriching as any other spiritual tradition.
Absolutely.
Is. Yeah.
And I think when you really look deeper into it, you will find out that it's more. It's almost more common of living a life of more better and fulfillment. When I think about the side of for myself, I don't really look at it as a religious lifestyle. I look at it more of a spiritual lifestyle.
Yeah, because you could technically be part of any other religion and still practice magic. You could be a Buddhist who does magic. You could be a Hindu who does magic. You could be a Christian who does magic. And most people don't think that way. They think, magic is like a religion. It's a belief system that you have to subscribe to. And it's not any of those things. It's a way of we're told so much and taught so much now about how we're victims. We don't have any control over reality unless we're millionaires, or unless we're these super politicians, or unless we're TV stars, people who have a platform in some sort of way. If you don't have any of those things, then you're sort of led down this road of, well, there's nothing you can do then. You're sort of just the victim of fate and chance and everything else. And that's one of the reasons for magic. You're not.
You build your own
platform. Exactly.
That's
yeah.
it right there.
Exactly.
So let's get into, I guess, or let you, because obviously Damien is foremost the most knowledgeable human that I know when it comes to magic. But let's get into the history of the background behind it.
Mm-hmm. Well, magic, technically, it's always existed, but it's existed in other forms. All religions and all spiritual practices go back to shamanism. Not necessarily Native American shamanism, but maybe even earlier forms of shamanism. Just take, for example, Tibetan Buddhism. Tibetan Buddhism came about whenever Chinese and Indian Buddhists started interacting with Tibetan shamans. And those two practices merged together and formed Tibetan Buddhism. So you've always had since the dawn of mankind, you've had shamanistic techniques and practices that have sort of evolved and turned into other religions as time goes on. And magic is the same way. We normally think of these things as two different things, like, say, shamanism and magic. But they're all the same thing. Yeah. It's just utilizing different techniques as focal points. But magic in its modern day form, the way that most people practice it now, has very, very strong roots in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Mm-hmm. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn was an English order of magicians in Great Britain in the late 1800s, and you had people like the poet W.B. Yeats, Pamela Coleman Smith, who is the woman who painted the scenes that we now think of when we think of the tarot.
Yes.
Aleister Crowley. All of these people were members of the Golden Dawn. And the Golden Dawn, these were people who, their intelligence, when you start reading the writings that they left behind, it absolutely blows you away. These people, genius doesn't even begin to describe what these people are. But they wanted to go into every tradition in the world, Hinduism, Taoism, Buddhism, Gnostic Christianity, Judaism, and they wanted to go to the techniques, the actual techniques of healing, the actual techniques of meditation, the actual techniques of visualization, breath work, and once again find what worked, try to figure out why it works, and then try to amplify it, see how they can make it work better without having all the dogma attached to it. So that was one of the founding practices, founding orders that turned into modern magic. From there on, you had all these splintered organizations and techniques and stuff that took off, like modern day Wicca. A lot of times in witchcraft now, well, first off, witchcraft and magic are not the same thing. Witchcraft is a very specific religion.
People always associate them as being the same.
Yes.
And this is the thing that I feel, and not that anything is wrong with witchcraft, but people, it's weird how things, and with other religions, they don't seem to get as associated.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But
well, I think the reason that happened, people always think witches do magic.
Yeah.
Which, in a lot of cases, is true. You do have people who subscribe to the religion of witchcraft who do practice magic. But you also have people who subscribe to the religion of witchcraft that have never practiced magic in their lives.
Yeah.
They just subscribe to the philosophies and the dogmas and the belief systems and all that kind of stuff, but have never actually done magic. Magicians, on the other hand, do magic, but may subscribe to no religion whatsoever.
Exactly.
But what happened is, Wicca sprang off from the teachings of the Golden Dawn. Then you had chaos magic, which really kicked off in, I would say, the 60s, maybe, when you had people that took the Golden Dawn teachings and broke them down even more, made them even more simple, got rid of like a lot of the really complicated meditation and energy circulation techniques.
A lot of ritual stuff, too.
Got rid of the ritual, and just focused on changing reality, shaping reality. And the number one key that's done in chaos magic is through sigils, talismans, things of that nature. It's still evolving to this day. Every single year that goes by since I've been alive, I've seen magic get more and more eclectic. It keeps constantly changing. In some ways for the better, in some ways maybe not so much. It gets watered down a little bit. Just for example, when Oprah Winfrey came along and started talking about The Secret.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Secret is magic.
It is. It's labeled a way to put it across and
to get it to people that doesn't scare them.
Version of it. But almost, I never read it and I don't really know too much about it, but my idea of it's a very simplified version of it.
Exactly.
And it's kind of the intention of what magic should be,
exactly.
I feel, for myself and for who I am and, and how I work and live my life.
The only thing with stuff like The Secret is it focuses more on just shaping reality.
Yes.
Instead of, the core foundation practices that so much of the Golden Dawn did, like the energy circulation, meditation techniques, all that kind of stuff. They do away with all that and just focus on, shaping reality itself, which is great if that's all you care about. But a lot of those techniques, like the middle pillar exercise, the lesser banishing rituals, all of those things are almost like doing calisthenics for your mind, for your energy system. So they make you stronger. There's a definite point to them. They exist for a reason. So for me personally, I believe in keeping it cohesive, keeping it as a whole, keeping all those things because they all have a benefit to them. You know, you not only do you have The Secret now, but you'll have people like Doreen Virtue, this woman whose books I love. She focuses on angels all the time. She's done, I don't know, like 15, 20 books on angels. I love those things. But that's all she focuses on. And she doesn't call it magic. She'll call it, you know, angel work or energy work or whatever
but
it is.
Magic.
It's magic.
Yeah.
It's magic. Or tarot readers.
Yeah.
You know, tarot is a tiny sliver of magic. You know, it was one little aspect of what you had to master when you joined the Golden Dawn. Now you'll have people that may read the tarot their whole lives or go to tarot readers or whatever, but never do manifestation, never do energy work.
But now, let me say this though: if you're doing it, if you get into tarot and you're not receptive and you're just doing it for the I don't know, you're just like is it really doing magic, or is it working for somebody in that kind of sense of because you're not? Put example, I went to a magic store. I went to Enchantments the other week or whatnot, and there was some guy in there, and I forget what the whole conversation was, but it was interesting. And the guy was saying, "Well, I want to get this. I want to get the stone for, let's say he was prosperity or love or something like that," so this will give, you know, and he says to the woman behind the counter, "So this is going to give me prosperity," and she said, "Just buying the stone is not going to give it to you. You have to believe within the stone and put that energy into the. You know, you have to do the work. It's not going to. You know, you just can't like that and be."
I think it's hard to say one way or the other, just because I think you've got, you know, just in the realm of tarot, you've got tarot readers all over the map. One day I'm walking down the street and I see this old woman sitting in this window doing tarot readings at this table, and she keeps going, come here, through the window. So I said, fuck it, I'll go do it. I go in, I sit down, and she starts laying the cards out, and she starts telling me what they mean. Nothing she's saying has any... She doesn't know that I know what they mean. Yes. So nothing she's saying has any relation to the cards that are on the table. And she tried to convince me that I needed to come back tomorrow with $200 and pay her to take a curse off of my whole family. Yeah. Because my family's cursed. So, you know, you have one end of the spectrum, which is complete and absolute bullshit. People who don't even know what they're doing, don't care what they're doing. They're just using it to bilk people. Yeah. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have people who don't even use it as readings. They use it as like a tool for meditation, for path work, stuff like that. Then somewhere in the middle, you have people that do both. And even in tarot readings or tarot readers, you know, you've got all different kind of tarot readers. You may have somebody who works on 100% intuition, and they just use the cards because it gives you something to look at while they're talking, telling you things. You may have somebody that uses the cards entirely, like they don't rely on intuition at all. They just tell you the symbolism of what the cards mean. Then you might have somebody who does 50% of one and 50% of the other. They're using intuition and the technical, traditional meanings of what the cards are, and they combine it all together. It's like going to a doctor. You know, some doctors are good, some doctors are bad, some doctors are somewhere in between. So again, we just want to say thank you for joining us today, for watching the latest episode of Magic Revolution TV. We're going to pick up this conversation.
Yeah, we're going to follow it up with part 2.
Yep, part 2 will be coming in the very near future, and we hope you're going to join us for that. Yeah. Thank you.
And please subscribe and hit the like if you dig what we're doing, and we'll see you again soon enough.